Bonjour everyone, welcome to another diecast showcase. So today, it's going to be a showcase obviously of diecast, but the theme I decided to go with is kind of revisit my collection of Greenlight Hollywood pieces. Now all of these are going to be carded. I did also preemptively want to include two loose cars that are kind of Greenlight movie cars, but since they're not officially part of the Greenlight Hollywood lineup, I did exclude them. They're two unofficial Fast and Furious cars that came out maybe 8 or 9 years ago in the Greenlight Muscle Garage series, and they're unofficially Mustang from Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, as well as the primer colored 70 Chevelle from Fast and Furious, the fourth opus of the saga or series. So those will be excluded because they're not officially Greenlight Hollywood cars, but we're going to be checking out between, I don't know, 25 and 30 cars. So, you know, sit, strap in, get a cold beverage, and enjoy. We're going to talk about the cars, but also the movies that they were in, at least the best of my ability and knowledge, because some of these are honestly from shows that I've never really watched and that I may know of. But yeah. So, without further ado, let us get started. So, first car we're going to be checking out. This is car from the TV show Hunter. I know it's a TV series, like a detective slash cop series, but I've honestly never watched it, and I picked this up because of the car specifically, not because of what it means in the show. But here it is. So we are looking at a nice 1969 Chevy Nova with some single strobe on the roof, mismatched wheels, some primer, and kind of like a, semi-gloss black paint. So very nice piece. Favorite Nova body style, 68 to 70 for me. And you got your usual Greenlight features, as we all know already. But for those who don't, we are talking about a metal base, metal body, rubber tires, and all the details one could wish for. Not a whole lot of lensed features on Greenlights for the most part. They're mostly painted, but they do have a bunch of separate pieces. Example, these chrome bumpers, that strobe on the roof that's not part of the glass portion of the casting, all the little the windscreen and back glass surround, that's a separate piece. Same for the A-pillar window, side window, door handles, so on and so forth. So yeah, got more primer on the roof as well as on the hood, or the fenders, should I say, not on the hood, actually. But yeah, nice little beater car. And this one, if it was out of the package, I wouldn't mind, because honestly, the show, as mentioned, doesn't resonate with me as much as others that we will be looking at. And I'm going to try and make a progression, basically, of going from cars that are cool, but shows that I'm not, or movies that I'm not a huge fan of or not knowledgeable about. So in that vein, we will follow suit with another car from, or should I say a truck from, a show that I am not familiar with. Obviously, it's, I know of the show, but I've never really watched it or anything like that. So here is the piece in question. We are talking about a rusty but trusty 78 Ford F-250 pickup truck. So we've got some rusty fender here, some rust around the rear arches, which is typical of any older car above the rust belt. As you can see, the bed is worn out with a wood effect, a big chunk of missing paint on the roof that has rusted out as well, and a good old rusty roof. Pretty sure the other side does not have the same patina. Here's your front end. And this reminds me, I told you when I showed you that Green Machine first response F-250 pickup, that it was the only one I had in the collections beside two Bigfoot. I actually have, I found out, This one, and I believe another one as well. All green lights, basically. Plus, I just picked up the Maisto version out of that 5-pack from the last episode. So, you know, I like the wheels that are stock looking, optional, kind of like mag wheels. Badging is great, detailing is great, patina's pretty well executed. So that is cool. It's kind of stuff I really like. I love patinaed cars, and we will be seeing more of these patinaed cars as this showcase progresses. Let's see. Another car that I am more, or actually I wanted this because of the car, because the show I've never really paid a whole lot of attention to. But I mean, it's a very well-known detective show. We're talking about MacGyver. And out of the MacGyver series of cars, they put out this super cool 86 Jeep Cherokee Wagoneer, which is basically the equivalent of a Wagoneer themed version of the XJ Cherokee. So you've got the stacked lights, the chrome grille, the mag wheels, white wall tires, which are pretty round. This was like when Greenlight really upped their game, started to up their game in regards to the application of white wall or red line tires on their cars, because they were very well known for not being all that round. So we'll see one example of that I'll show you in, as part of the showcase. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's just stock looking, nothing crazy. This is an early Cherokee, which is why you have the little black rubber bumperettes, the metal bumpers, and those stack lights did not move forward to the facelifted version. So yeah, obviously all these cars, you'll notice they have mirrors. The interiors are very well done, and they're pretty cool. I'm definitely a big fan of Greenlight, because as a movie buff, they have the best series of movie cars, in my opinion at least, that is available in 1/64th scale diecast. So let's see. One show that I know of, that I watched a few episodes of when I was a kid, but never really got into it, the infamous summer vacation reruns on cable TV, for those who are old enough to remember those pre-internet days. Well, there's a show that kept running and being re-aired and reran several times. And we're talking about the Brady Bunch. And this is pretty much the iconic car, I guess, of the Brady Bunch. We got the super cool Plymouth Satellite station wagon, 69 model. And it's nice and dirty. Very dusty. Very, very dusty. Doesn't seem to be rusty, but it's definitely very dusty. So again, really cool painted details. Very well applied white walls on the tires. You've got the hubcaps as opposed to the stylized steel wheels, steelies or rally wheels. You do have on this one an opening rear tailgate. And you've got some baggages on the roof, or some bags or something. So a very cool car, and this is the Mopars of this, actually muscle cars in general of the late 60s are definitely my favorite era of muscle car. So nice little, grandma wagon. So definitely a cool piece. Let's see, show surprisingly that I kind of never really watched that much. Did watch the movies that subsequently came out, but the show itself, when it was airing once, one, I was too young to watch it. I was too young of a kid. And when the reruns were happening, I normally found myself watching other stuff. So, but this one I picked up. It's not the most iconic vehicle in the series, but it's definitely one that I like in the sense that it's very plain Jane. We are talking about the A-Team and this 1977 Pontiac Le Mans. Definitely cool that it's a four-door sedan with the black wall tires, the hubcaps, So nothing sporty about this car. And this is actually the same models that were used in example, Smokey and the Bandit. These were the cars that were used as police cars in that movie. They destroyed a huge amount of them. So yeah, we also have this one from the A-Team. I'm not sure what this vehicle is about. If I were to gander a hypothesis of this car's role in the show, I'm thinking undercover cop. But hey, I could be wrong. Let me know. Let me know, people that are A-Team buffs and that have this knowledge, which obviously I do not, since I never really watched the show. We're going to make a little bit more room since we have a whole lot more cars to look at. All right, one movie that I did watch. It's not an iconic movie to me in any way, shape, or form, but when this casting came out, it did introduce a new style of wheels from Greenlight, which I really, really like, and have been, similar wheels have been added to other vehicles subsequently. We are talking about Thelma and Louise, and it's this beautiful 66 T-Bird drop top with the nice blue-gray metallic paint and a nice cream interior. And this will give you the opportunity to see how these Greenlight interiors are very well made, very well molded. They're not excruciatingly detailed if we're talking about texture. It's very monotone, but all the details are there. They're accurate. They just look like fresh 3D printed, interiors, which is fine. So again, no lens details, but you do have accurate license plates on most of these vehicles as well, which is a really cool touch. And very authentic. Greenlight does have the knack of actually going ahead and making slight alterations in grills, example, or bumpers or lights on the same casting to make different model years without having to actually change the casting itself, but only the plastic inserts that are used for front and rear fascias. Obviously wheels, slight detailing could differ as well if we're talking about trim level, if we're talking about Cooper convertible, if we're talking about wagon or sedan, if we're talking about pre to post facelift. So it's a very cool selection of cars to collect. Next we do have, let's see, how about we get into some TV, let's see, movie car. This one actually is a movie that, is pretty iconic. Definitely I am a fan of it. And I do have two versions of this one, although I'm getting rid of one, the clean version. I did pick up a dirty version of this iconic car upon it being released. And we are talking about the 35th anniversary RoboCop Ford Taurus police car. Nicely battered with some bullet holes in the front windscreen. Mud splatter all around. Dusty. And this is a Ford Taurus LX with a few options, as it does have the mag wheels. I'm really hoping Greenlight, please make the SHO. Vintage Ad Cars SHO first gen. That would be amazing, especially if you can incorporate an opening hood to show that wondrous Yamaha 3-liter V6. I would really like that. But hey, I've been saying that every time I feature a Taurus. Will it happen? Who knows? All right, so yeah, beat up post battle Ford Taurus police car. And they use this because it's set a little bit in the future in the movie, and Taurus, compared to the GM and Chrysler equivalents, was in 1986 for midsize sedans. This was way ahead of its time in regards to aerodynamism, styling, and whatnot. It looked way more ahead of its time than the comparables at GM. Example, the Chevy Celebrity or something of the sort, or at Chrysler with Chrysler New Yorker. Just not, it's kind of post malaise, but this is what brought automotive styling out of the malaise era for American cars. So, but yeah, definitely a cool one. I definitely like this. And yeah, I'm a fairly big RoboCop fan. Was more when I was a kid, but you know, I'm less into superheroes now than I was back in the day, but it's still good. Next up, a show that I actually did watch furiously, that I watched all the subsequent movies of, and that I loved when I was a teenager, was The X-Files. And representing The X-Files is a sheriff liveried 81 K5 Blazer, so a good old square body Chevy Blazer. This has the removable canopy in the back. No opening parts besides that, only a removable one. You've got the older school strobes on the top with the red and blue clearly visible, as opposed to a clear light bar like we normally see today. And we've got the really cool aluminum alloy wheels. Got white bumpers on this one, so definitely a utility model. Just kind of make these wheels look out of place a little bit, but that's just me. A gloss brown color, which is fitting for 81. I mean, brown was the thing back then. And I mean, X-Files, I mean, this, I don't remember exactly which episode this is. There's like 10 seasons of X-Files, maybe, something like that. I couldn't tell you which from which episode this is, but it's definitely a cool one. And unfortunately, there are no details on the back to actually tell you which episode this was in. Yeah, but I do like the Greenlight square bodies. They're pretty cool. Be it the Blazer, be it the Silverados, or anything like that. I mean, I find they're really cool. They're pretty well proportioned, and definitely a little bit more rugged than the M2 ones that are, well, you know, M2 has more parts, so they're a little bit more fragile, just to say the least. So, all right, next up, another movie I really enjoyed. Definitely a good movie for anyone that likes kind of synthwave 80s inspired culture, which this movie definitely showed, based on its soundtrack and its visuals and the, you know, very 80s neon colors of the lighting throughout the movie, when it's nighttime at least. The 73 Chevy Chevelle Malibu from Drive, which was definitely an excellent movie. So it's pretty much the unloved generation of the Chevelle. You know, this hit off the Malaise era after the heavy hitters from, you know, 70 to 72, and in my opinion, the best ones, 68, 69, and all the ones before. This was definitely a step down. Big loss of power, catalytic converters, you know, gas crisis, all the social, economical things that would make this, you know, lose size, lose weight, but especially lose a lot of power. So this one's a little bit tricked out in the movie. You know, it's obviously got an engine swap. It sounds meaner and seems definitely faster than what this would have been stock, with probably 140, 50 horsepower from a 5-liter plus V8. Absolutely ridiculous. We've come a long way for emissions. Let's just say that. So definitely a good one. I think this one has an opening hood. It seems to, actually, but sometimes you will find that some castings are redone and they decide to just keep the shut lines, but they actually do not make that part openable. So I've got tricked a couple times for the opening hoods, that you're trying to open them because you're sure they open, and you end up either chipping a nail or scratching the paint, chipping the paint. So, but yeah, this is a really cool piece just because of the movie. And I do have another version of this car on a transport, an Armor All transport. So that is one that I'll be opening eventually when I make another one of the premium unboxing videos that I do like doing. Apologies there. All right. So yeah, definitely a great movie. Drive. Check it out if you haven't already. All right. Another iconic movie that I've probably seen 25 to 30 times in my life, and that I don't mind going back to, notwithstanding how many times I've seen it, but I haven't seen it as many times as to know every single line from the movie by heart. we've got from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The vehicle here that is towards the end of the movie before the, it's the one that's used to drive to that final showdown. 79 Ford LTD Country Squire. All beat up, super dusty, and that's how it was in the movie. I remember when I found this, they had two, and I almost got skimped because one of them had a broken roof rail. So happily I noticed before I committed to buying it and swapped out the broken one for this one. This one is not exempt of QC issues. You will notice the window, especially here and to a certain extent here, are kind of inserted crooked. It's a beat up car anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can see the patina, the paint missing on the roof. The hubcaps are gone, so you got black steelies with the white wall tires. You've got some rust on the bottom here. So yeah, very cool. I do have one of these loose, but just a plain Jane version from the wagon series. So this is my carded example of this casting. It's completely different from the loose one that I have, which is just beige with black walls and hubcaps, as opposed to this one that's definitely patinaed up nicely. So as you can see, I do enjoy my patina cars. All right, next, let's go ahead with a couple of duos. As mentioned many times before, and as you can probably witness through my Best in Pairs series, which there are 5 or 6 volumes of in past videos. Definitely feel free to go check those out if you're intrigued. We've got a couple of cars from a movie series that I definitely enjoy a lot. And funnily enough, they're not the hero cars that I picked up, but the gangster cars, or actually one gangster car and one that is kind of just like a prop slash, sit in for the movie. So here they are. Show you both at the same time to save some time. So we've got here from John Wick, the first one. These two beauties right here. So you've got a 74 Checker Taxi, which is just something you see because they're in New York, and there's a bunch of these rolling around. Well, this and other yellow cab cars. Definitely cool. So it's pretty much my only checker cab that I have, and it's kind of car that if I get it out of the packaging, honestly, doesn't even matter. I mean, I'm not so attached. I mean, if it was the Mustang or the Chevelle from John that actually Keanu Reeves did drive in the movie, those I'd keep carded. But it's a nice piece. It's definitely a nice piece, and I mean, once you free it, I mean, this could be from a bunch of different movies. So that's always cool. And again, you have a little license plate on the back, the accurate New York City license plate. So that is pretty cool. We also have the Charger, and here is the example that I would give you of when Greenlight was getting a huge amount of smack for their tires not being in round, if we're talking about the white walls. Look at the front tire on this thing, and this is not off the rim. This is literally, it was just misapplied to the tire, to the wheel, or to the tire, and that's how she looks. It's unfortunate, but I mean, it's a good reminder of how far Greenlight has come for this specific recurrent QC issue that plagued them for about a year. They did correct themselves in a major way. So, and you can see even the rear one is not completely in round. It's a little bit more towards the tread on top here versus on the bottom here, where it's very close to the rim. Kind of hard to see, but overall, very nice Charger. And the cool thing about this Charger, if we were to swap out these wheels for black walls and hubcaps, this would be the exact same spec of Charger that is the car being chased in that phenomenal chase scene in Bullet. So that's kind of cool. So again, dual purpose car that if you take it out of the package, you could say it's from a couple movies basically, and it would pretty much fit. It's obviously not the same Charger from Fast and Furious because you don't have the big blown motor, you don't have the drag setup, you don't have it's just more, you have the vinyl roof, and you know it's just a more pedestrian car basically. So nice Charger RT. Be really intrigued to see what's under the hood. And this one, I think the hood does open, but hard to tell because these clamshells do not allow any movement of the moving parts, which is what we want as collectors, because that'll prevent chipping and all kinds of other stuff. So we just talked about this car. One cannot have a Greenlight Hollywood car show or showcase without one of these. The infamous Bullet 68 Mustang GT in Highland Green with the American Racing torque thrust wheels. Literally movie spec. And there is a weathered one. When they actually found the original of this car, a barn find, Greenlight did replicate, and I think a couple other companies too did replicate the weathered one, or the as found type of condition. So this one is like a nice stock looking version, which is what I wanted. So yeah, and I mean, everything's there. It's just well done. There's nothing to complain about. It's movie accurate. So definitely, this is, I mean, this movie and the car chase through San Fran with this and the Charger, it's in every top 10 best car movie / best car chase / best car scene, or best hero car. It's always in the top 10. So you gotta have one of these in your collection. You really just have to. And I mean, this has come out also, as mentioned, clean like this, weathered, and they also made a transport. So, they're out there. On the secondary market, they're not that expensive. Greenlight does not pull crazy premiums. Even the Chases don't pull crazy premiums. So the Green Machines. So, if you're into classic muscle cars, Greenlight's got a nice assortment. Same thing for VWs, and to a certain extent, if you like Nissan, old school Nissans, and even like newer school Nissans, they do have a couple of those as well, which I've showcased in previous videos. So Bullet, it's legendary. There's also another legendary movie that really marked me when I saw it for the first time, probably about 20 years after it was originally released, and still had the impact that older movies do have with people that have not seen older movies. And by older movies, I mean from the past millennia, basically. So in the 1900s, this movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this is the Ford Club wagon in which the young people that do get chased, sometimes killed, and mostly hurt by the crazy protagonist with the chainsaw. This is what they arrived in, and this is cool. It's lightly dusted, kind of like what they did on that Brady Bunch car. So same type of weathering. So it's dusty, but it's not rusty. And again, correct license plate, all detailing is there. This is a great casting. I love vans in diecast, and in real life they're cool as well. So this, when I saw it, was a must-have, because I remember the scenes where this van is present, and it's pretty legendary. So if you're into horror movies, you've never seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacres, but only maybe one or a few of the Reduxes, it's worth the watch. It's very raw, and there's nothing that is CGI. It's just very, very raw. It looks like it's filmed, by today's standard with a potato. The lighting is sometimes absent, which makes it all the more freaky because you can't see what's going on. You can just hear the chainsaw on the screams and everything like that. So yeah, worth a watch if you guys have not seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very epic, historic horror movie. Now I did skip the other pair of cars I noticed, but again, it's in the same vein as Bullet. If we're talking about the actual, how very, very epic and legendary this movie is. I tend to compare it to Easy Rider, but in an automotive fashion. And again, for now, we're not going to be looking at the hero cars. We're going to be looking at the hero car, should I say. We're going to be looking at two cars that were included in the movie, but are not part of the main protagonists. So this is the duo in question. So we have a really cool 70 Chevelle in kind of like olive / avocado metallic green, matching steelies with the poverty caps, black wall tires. So the 70 had the only year for the revised body style, but with 4 lights. 71 they switched to singles. Very well done. This is the kind of muscle car I really like. Looks plain Jane, but you can imagine like a 502 big block swap in there or something like that with crazy torque and a whole lot of power. Just smoking those rear tires. Either way, honestly, this one I don't remember which part of the movie it was in because I haven't watched it in a while, a few years. But it was in there. Obviously, it was in there. So great card art as well. This is the original poster from the movie, or part of it. So yeah, with Kowalski and his Challenger, trying to not get killed both by haters and law enforcement. So there you go. And this one, I do remember what part of the movie is. This was actually driven by a newlywed couple. It's a Chevy 210 Townsman, so mid-range, a rung above the 150, but a rung below the Bel Air. So not a utility, but not a fully equipped version, kind of in the middle. This one's on black steelies, which is kind of cool, black wall tires, so it really looks beat up and stripped down. And this is a movie from the 1970s, so by the time this movie came out, this car was already over 20 years old, so they were considered beaters. It's a 4-door wagon, which is great. It's not like the Nomad. And you can see on the back the Just Married sign on the tailgate. Here's your classic 55 front end, the best looking of the Tri-5s in my opinion. And just a cool car. Again, out of the package, this would look great in a diorama and whatnot. Just you can recreate vintage scenes. Kind of cool. All right, now we're going to be getting into the couple comedies. That I really liked. Some classic comedy films, some classic US comedies from the 80s and 90s. First one, Beverly Hills Cop, the original with Eddie Murphy. And this is what Eddie Murphy drives in the first one. Beat Up Nova. So maybe this would be very similar to the 68 from Hunter that we looked at, first car we looked at. This one is, again, dusted but not rusted. Very dusty. Bit more than the Ford van from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but a little bit less than the Brady Bunch one. So, well, probably equivalent. Super dirty, as you can see. This is really cool. Again, 68 to 70 Nova, my favorite gen, so you can't get enough of these. I do have a 69 loose as well from the GL Muscle series at Yenko, so that's cool, you know. 68, 69, and 70 from Greenlight, acquired all different cars in different states of, you know, states. Why not follow it up with go rung up in the GM two-door coupes, go one size up, and another classic comedy from 10 plus years after, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective with Jim Carrey, first one, and the infamous Monte Carlo with all the battle damage and neglect. Paint's awful, very matted, awesome. Windshield's busted up, as you can see, after he steals that little dog in the opening scene. You can see that one light bezel is missing on the front. Hubcaps are gone. Black wall tires. And the rear window is even busted out, as it is in the movie, after that opening scene. So again, accurate license plate. Original part of the original movie poster. Love my Monte Carlos. Started in the 1970s, and they were awesome for the first 3 years. 70, 71, 72, 73. Styling got slightly more awkward as time went by until it was a bloated, underpowered, lazy boy car. Personal luxury coupe. So, these were the good years. You can get these with a 454 and all kinds of cool motor options. Next, let's get back into action movies. Action movies. So, one movie that I tend to watch probably once a year because it always ends up playing somewhere and or it pops up somewhere and I'm like, you know what? I haven't watched that in a while. Let's watch that. Never gets old. Always good. And another movie with Keanu Reeves. We're talking about Speed. The first Speed. And this is the Bronco Keanu Reeves drove to actually catch up with that infamous bus that has to stay above, I believe it's 50, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, awesome. It's pretty close to what the movie one is. The wheels are not exactly accurate. They're kind of like aftermarket mag wheels. Not exactly the same design as in the movie, but for the rest, I mean, Matchbox just came out with their version of this Bronco. Great for $1 car. This is just on another level, and I believe it does have an opening hood. Yeah, so there you go. California plate. Movie accurate. Very cool. I'm pretty sure the top comes off on this one. And I think the hood opens because it does have the shut lines. But again, very tricky, and this ain't coming out of the package. So that's definitely a action movie from the 90s I enjoyed, just as I do this one. And this is kind of an oddball in the sense that this is technically a hero car because not a whole lot of cars in this movie, honestly. It's more about other stuff that fly in the air. Independence Day. And this is the 71 Chevy C10. A good old rusty front clip, rusty roof, rusty bed, and very patinaed paint with some rust splatter all over. White utility steel wheels. But overall, everything's there. So, it's very cool. And this is the truck that was driven by the guy that we first see being abducted in the film, the beginning of the film. So, a patinated truck, I can't say no to that. So, yeah, very, very cool model. Now we're going to get into my top 3 pieces that I have. One of them is more for the car than the film, although the film was awesome. And I'll start with that one. It's the only chase that we're going to be looking at. And it's a recently acquired Greenlight Green Machine Italian Job Classic Mini, one of the 3. All 3 colors were released, white, red, and blue. They're movie accurate with all the details, the fog lights on the front, the mini light wheels. These, by the way, were 10-inch wheels. It's a Cooper S 1275, so the top of the line, JCW. And it's a tiny car. It's 2164. I mean, this thing is dwarfed. I mean, look at this compared to the pickup. And these are to scale. Look at the size difference. This thing would be crushed by this pickup truck or their collision. So this is definitely one that I was happy to find, and I actually have an alternate release of this non-chase in the same white. If I had the different color one that was non-chase, I'd probably try and find the red and or the blue, depending which one I found. So very cool. One of maybe half a dozen green machines I've decided to keep in the collection as opposed to use as trade bait. And yeah, I have a loose one of these, and it is tiny. It's kind of heavy for the size it is because it's all metal, but it's really, really tiny. and it gets dwarfed by the Hot Wheels version, which I've actually posted a picture of in Comparo on Instagram. So we'll put this one right here. Next, we have my favorite horror movie star car. Definitely my favorite horror movie star car in the version that I actually wanted. So this is one of maybe 3 or 4 Christines that I have. And this is the one that started it all, if we're talking about additions to the collection. My first acquisition at Passion Diecast. We are talking about the 58 Plymouth Fury, and this is the evil version with the blacked out windows, so as to make sure the stunt driver could not be seen, as this car is supposed to drive itself. Now everybody knows Christine. They're actually potentially supposed to be making a remake of it. Most Stephen King movies have been remade, if we're talking about the really popular ones. So, but this is great. Again, I won't go through all the details because it's all the same thing, but you know, this has the white walls, the 3-tone paint with the white top, silver insert, and gloss red paint. Bumper is always looking a little crooked from the side, but they are all like that. You can look up pictures online. They're literally all like that. Just one of those things. Real life, it does kind of look a little bit like that, but not as much as this. So, from the side profile, and that can be seen in the movie. So, yeah, this is definitely my favorite horror movie car. Self-driving, jealous Christine. And my ultimate favorite Greenlight Hollywood piece that I have in the collection, which is actually a Miho exclusive and very hard to find. Well, very hard. I mean, it's easy to find if you go on eBay, but if you want to pay a decent price, I consider it hard to find at a decent price. We are talking about the only Australian car, I believe, that Greenlight produces. And it would be the infamous Mad Max Ford Falcon Interceptor. Last of the V8 Interceptors. It comes with this special Miho exclusive package. Does come with the collector box. And normally, if it comes with the collector box, I open it. But in this case, it's one of my favorite car movies of all time, and it's so good. The model is definitely great. Very well reproduced, very accurate. You got the little Mel Gibson Flash Max. I love when Greenlight includes figures. They've been doing this for a long time, especially in their box sets from maybe 8-9 years ago, and even more especially in their Hobby Shop series, which always comes with an accessory figure. Vintage gas tank, could be surfboards, could be an extra set of wheels with axles, all kinds of stuff. So very cool, very cool. And yeah, that one I actually found at the Montreal Auto Show pre-COVID, I believe. So a while ago, 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. Now we're going to finish off with 4 Greenlight Hollywood pieces that are actually part of the Hollywood Hitch and Tow series, which means you get a car, a hauler of some kind, and a trailer. So again, I will go in my order of preference if we're talking about what these movie shows and TV shows and movies mean to me and how they impacted me. Now, one that's definitely very impactful to a lot of people and has a huge following, but I'm kind of not part of that. It's kind of like the Brady Bunch or MacGyver. It's just, I wasn't into the show that much, and even the Redux movie, I watched it, but I wasn't flabbergasted. Either way, it's a very cool set that I had to get, despite, the car not being something I absolutely needed. We're talking about the 1976 Ranchero and Gran Torino with the flatbed trailer from Starsky and Hutch. Well, probably didn't need to show you the movie name because you probably would have guessed without me showing it to you, but here it is. So you've got the matching car and ute with the really cool trailer. You can see that there's working ramps, and there is also here the little um, basically the little stand that you can screw into the neck of the trailer, neck of the hitch of the trailer, and make sure that it stands level. Or you can raise it even more and make it tilted platform so as to make sure that your slammed cars don't rub all over when you unload them from your trailer. So that is definitely cool. A lot of people love this car, and it has the strobe, it has the stripe, it has everything, and they were really smart to do a matching Ranchero, I believe. It's a very good move. I mean, imagine seeing this pull up to a Cars and Coffee. Everybody would go nuts, basically. So that's for Starsky and Hutch TV show and movie. I mean, technically, it's the same car. They're both Gran Torinos. So. One that I picked up purely for the cars, not for the movie, because, you know, I did watch these movies for the most part, but I was not a huge fan of them. But hey, the cars are just awesome. So there you go. Look at this. Rocky 2. You've got the really nice 79 Pontiac Firebird in all its Smokey and the Bandit greatness. And you've got a really cool little Chevy short box single cab C10 square body. And as opposed to the first one we watched, unfortunately, they're doing more and more of this for this specific series. Instead of getting a flatbed trailer, which is really cool because you can use it with other cars and it works well, you get all these trailers that are splattered on the sides with the movie poster or part of a movie poster. And I mean, it's good, you know, but at the same time, it's not very easy to amalgamate with other cars. An example, a diorama or for photography or whatnot, unless you're doing something that's, you know, Rocky specific, is not going to work, basically, you know, or a Hollywood scene, you know, a movie set scene or something like that, which is not, it's not automotive enough for me. So I don't tend to like the box trailers as much as I do like the flatbeds. So one that we absolutely have to check out, it's my most recently acquired, I believe, Hollywood Hitch and Tow. I got this probably 2 years ago. No, I think last year. I picked this up last year. So it's part of series 12. Crazy, huh? 12. Look at this cool duo. Gone in 60 Seconds. The Eleanor GT500E with the F-150 XL with the tiny little Gone in 60 Seconds logo here. And we are talking about, this is the weathered version of Eleanor. So post jumping over an ambulance and, you know, fix that with a little bit of fiberglass or whatnot, you know, 49.5 cars as opposed to 50. If you've seen the movie with Nick Cage, you'll know what I mean. It's not the original Gone in 60 Seconds, which actually had a 73 Mach 1 in yellow. I believe it's 70, 73, something like that. 71, 72, 73 Sportback anyways. But yeah, they did reintroduce a classic Mustang, just, you know, kind of pimped out, very 2000-ish, you know, which is when this movie came out. This movie came out the same year as the Porsche 996 911. The first water-cooled 911 came out, just to give you an idea of the time frame. Over 25 years ago at this point. So is it over 30? Yeah, actually more closer to 30 years. So yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, epic car, epic movie. I've seen the movie about 50,000 times, and I know a lot of the lines by heart, and, you know, all the, you know, it's when you're, this came out when I was 16 or something like that, you know, was working on getting my license that I acquired, you know, during that year. And I mean, it's just one of those movies, you know, This came out literally at maybe same year or a year apart from the original Fast and Furious. So it was a good time for car movies. The late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of good ones came out. So, but prior to that, of course, I'm going to finish off with my favorite Greenlight Hollywood, because of the fact that basically we checked out a pair of cars from the movie, and now we have the missing piece of this trio to complete it. We are talking about the Vanishing Point set with this awesome Charger RT, 1971 Charger RT with the supercharger. If I base myself on the movie. And the hauler is this really cool Ram 2500 2018 model, all stock, with the Cummins diesel, as you can see on the fender. Has a little Cummins logo. Yeah, also with a box trailer with Vanishing Point movie art. So that is definitely my favorite hauler of this set. So that concludes this extremely long showcase. If you guys stuck around, thanks for sticking around. Hey, let me know in the comments, which is your favorite hauler? Which is your favorite single that we checked out today? What's your favorite movie out of all these movie cars, basically? Yeah, of course, if you want to see more videos, subscribe. That way you'll be notified of when I upload next. I'm going to try and get back to a weekly upload if possible. And of course, hit that like on your way out. Always appreciated. On that, I'll let you go. All the best of luck on your hunts. Hopefully you have fuller pegs than mine in my area. Yeah, just stay safe out there. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.